My name is April Martin, and I am here at Whitewater with you all with our youth group and prayer ministries. I just recently got baptized, and one of the reasons why I decided to be rebaptized was because I really felt like even though I had been baptized before, I hadn't built a relationship with God. When I was about 8-ish or so, I went to church once in a while with my grandma. And during children's church, they would ask anybody if they wanted to accept Jesus. And I saw these kids go up and do stuff. I don't know, they went into another room. So I'm like, oh, what is going on? I want to know what's happening. And so that was the first time I got baptized. But of course, I only went to church once in a while, so Christ wasn't really a part of my life. As a teenager, I started looking into going back to church, but it was really difficult with my first marriage. He was not wanting to go to church with me, and so I would take the kids, and eventually he'd be like, oh, do you have to go? And so it was kind of discouraging, but eventually I found a church that my parents went to, actually, and they looked at things more of the, I guess, black and white, and that made sense to me. So they're like, well, you have to get baptized, and I'm like, okay, and they're like, but you need to take out your tongue ring. We won't baptize you, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? And so I fell into this legalism pit. It took me very many years to figure out that I was even in this pit, because I just thought that's the way it was. Everything was black and white, and you either were or you weren't doing the right things or with God or anything. But when I found Whitewater, I found a relationship with God. Again, it still took me a couple years before I found that. We actually started coming here because my daughter was involved in the youth group. And one of my passions in life is children. I love working with kids. I love doing all of the activities, the camps and fall flings. Actually, I haven't been to a fall fling yet, but I'm gonna go. All of those are just super fun to me. And so I asked if I could help out with our youth group. And of course, Miss Sherry's like, yes, of course. And I just started falling in love with God. And I was like, and I kind of didn't understand at first, because I'm not good enough. Because no matter what I do, I just can't do it right. And it so happened that last camp, we talked about the Israelites wandering through the desert and crossing the Jordan River at the end. And at the end, he was talking about, it was Trevor, he was talking about how just because we're crossing the Jordan into the promised land doesn't mean our lives are gonna get better. And it doesn't mean that we're gonna do everything right. It just means that we now have God with us. And that spoke to me so much, because I kind of came to the realization that it doesn't matter if I'm enough. It doesn't matter if I do it right. The only thing that matters is that I have God with me. And if God is with me, that's all I need. And so that's why I decided to get rebaptized.